So then, we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzayelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end. As per Yeshayahu the prophet, we find then during this time and season, reading then the 61st, layered with chapter 1:8 of Yeshayahu, where then the holy cities then are returning, because the Messiah read obviously the section of the 61st chapter of Yeshayahu, and he only read first section of it related with the spring feast, and he did not read the vengeance because it would come much later. The cities then returning, and then the Gentiles included in the plan. So let's understand then what it means, revelation, or then Galah. There is in chapter 13 a very important section of it, because it portrays then the first beast and the second beast. What are these? How can we determine who they are? In the spiritual understanding from tabernacling, we have to understand this. Tabernacling is the center point of the entire scripture. Whatsoever is done outside the tabernacling must be done via the beast. As we understand, there was 1,000 years of deceit from 1009 to 2009, where two beasts were obviously at work. The first beast obviously was then Great Britain, because 800 years was granted for Great Britain to do trade and mixing up of what they thought was God, because they have the manuscripts from the Greco and the Romans and not the original. Later was given 200 years to the United States, where then they did what they wanted. Thus the first beast, thus the second beast. What do we understand of the economy at the moment? The economy is going through lots of changes, and as you can understand, many people, when they study the American economy, they can truly understand the USD is dying. Because firstly, they are printing out more money they can ever handle it. At the moment, the national debt, there is then a gathering of taxes. There is 8 times lower than to make the system even. So, in order to make the system then even, the gathering of taxes must be 8 times more. At least 8 times more. Then they have to understand this understanding related with what the world then is spending as far as USD. How can the United States protect the USD used by the rest of the world? So then, if you log on and find out the debt clock of the United States, you find then the expenses 8 times more than the gathering of taxes, only speaking of the United States itself. So then, since they are printing so much money, why has not the United States then used its gold in order to maintain the stability of the USD? The answer is very simple. The gold was already used. What's there is a fake gold, tungsten then layered with gold. So then let's evaluate what went on then in February, where they found then the traders of gold, they were receiving bars of gold, but truly they were receiving only bathed pieces of bars, and then those they had obviously tungsten in them, because they have the same density as gold. So the United States has a very dirty scheme of then protecting the USD. Firstly, they have no protection whatsoever. IMF already gave the report stating a couple of years ago, came out another report not very long ago regarding the condition of the USD. The problem is the economy of US, they can't maintain themselves. Do you think they can honor the price of USD worldwide? So what people are purchasing outside of US is simply a piece of paper. There is no more value. It's not protected by investment, it's not protected by gold, and it's not protected by the growth of the industry of US. So then, what is the deal then? So then we find the prophet, giving us then a calculation of time regarding his first 1,000 years, already gone, and then the other 1,000 years given to Nahashatan, already gone. The time of 1,000 years of the city was subdivided in a couple of sections. 800 granted for Great Britain, a couple of hundred granted for the United States. Both of them are gone. There is a new system coming up. While then nations are purchasing the USD, then comes the spiritual fight, the spiritual understanding of Daniel then when he was explaining Bel and the dragon. The dragon is China. Simply means precision. If you study the Chinese culture, they always make a relation with the dragon because it is a relation with precision in any facet of life. It does not mean evil because they have their own religion. It's a simple understanding of the trades layer so then the Gentiles can understand where the new system is coming from. US is dying. It's a type of economy that is absolutely dying. The best is for the nations to change their economies based from the Chinese type of trade system. Thus then becoming partners with the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. Because then the economy of the Pacific can bring stability, because truly the yuan of China, though the value is low, whatsoever they have available is protected by gold, real gold, not tungsten type of bathed gold. Thus then we understand it was granted 1,000 years. Then in these 1,000 years you find 800 and 200, and these times are gone. So it is very displeasing to God having nations buying a certain form of monetary system rather than doing what he told the world to do. Namely then doing trade with China, direct trade with China, because then circumvents the junky USD. So then we find ourselves studying this topic because it's extremely important, understanding nations are buying simply a piece of paper. With this in mind, then another section of the understanding is US trying to become the mediator of Palestinians and Israelites. Never worked. Didn't work during the time of Clinton, and it's not working during this time where the economy of US is nearly ruined. Doing what the prophet told him to do, basic understanding. So then what was the guideship of the prophet? The land of Cush, and then tabernacling on the land of Cush. These are orders from the Messiah himself, where then his original people, they gather around and they form a holy city per instructions, while then the congregations, they come around and they receive functionings from the people. Thus then the 7 functions of Elohim, 7 spirits of Elohim. And then the congregations, they do what they do best. They gather around and they talk regarding the holy layers of the prophetic without any control over each other. So then we find ourselves trying then to understand what the US then is doing, because every time they try to be ahead of the game and they are always behind. The USD, there is no more value. The USD, there is no more gold backing it up. And they try to become mediators of a situation that didn't work, and it doesn't work, and it won't work. So then let's understand regarding then the third temple. Many of the Hebrews, unfortunately, they have this idea of having a third temple. There won't be a third temple. When the Ishmaelites received the stick of authority of trade, much later, the Ishmaelites only will let the deserts tabernacling on the top of the mount. That's it. not above, not below, because this was the original plan. There is no third temple. So there is no friendship with Israelites and Palestinians. Only when tabernacling is established, the first in the land of Cush, and then the 7 cities of Asia Minor must return. Later then, Zechariah, from 8th to the 12th chapter, then you find the Hebrews making route from holy cities to Jerusalem, so they do the pruning. The pruning means taking away then the false religions of the area. So then preparing the place for tabernacling later at the end. By this time, the Ishmaelites are already under the control of the trade via petroleum. So then, since we understand Dragon Mart is already in Dubai, Dubai is then a region of the Ishmaelites. And they have already given themselves then the honor of having this new system, because they understand later they will receive it from this system. Then you have this system already in Cancun. From then on would be then Australia, South Pacific Trading Post, and then South Brazil, South Atlantic Trading Post, then in India, and then South Africa, and then Canada. So then can you understand then when Daniel was explaining then the fight from dragon and Baal? Baal and the dragon, those are the recordings of the spiritual fight. And we understand at the end the dragon wins. Obviously. Because we are during a period of time of precision. Chinese culture always regards the dragon as precise. That's what it means. There is no religion in it. There is no religion in it because the angel said to Daniel, what the angel has said, those who are filthy remain filthy, those who are clean remain clean. What is he saying is this: religions of the world, they are going to remain dirty. Tabernacling remains holy. So it gives you the absolutely perfect understanding of it. The dragon does not mean dirty, it simply means precision, because it is directly related with the culture of China. But China was chosen for the leadership of this period of time, from 2010 and prior of 2032. That's the period of time, including then the time of the autumn feast. So then the instructions are very simple, but takes study, takes time on the scripture, understand those layers, understanding world's news, understand the world's monetary system, understanding then the flow of these events. It takes a study. If you are a person not spending time studying the computer, studying the economy, studying English, then more than likely you won't understand. But you can. If you translate and you understand the flow of events from the instructions, you can understand the end of times. So at the moment, what is the objective? Since then USD is absolutely nearly ruined, and since the time of the 1,000 years of deceit related Great Britain and America, those are already gone. What is the objective? Very simple. Making a direct deal with China, and then staying away from the USD. Obviously. That's the way God has made it. That's the way He wants during this time of the restoration period. So please stay tuned. Much more coming up.